So I want to show you how to connect to a CDN, which stands for Content Distribution Network. And I want you to use this technique for Bootstrap. All the code for Bootstrap is in this CDN, which is a server being hosted by somebody else. And to use Bootstrap, all you have to do is link to it, and then you have access to all this Bootstrap code to help you create all sorts of different websites. So here on the left, I have my web page set up in brackets, and here on the right, I am pointing to this website called bootstrapcdn.com. So this is where you can get the Bootstrap code that you need. You just go to this website, bootstrapcdn.com. It's actually in the information for this unit that you are reviewing right now for Bootstrap. And you go in here, and what you see are basically 3 links to 3 different websites. You only need to use 2 of them, the CSS one and the JavaScript bundle one. You don't need to use JavaScript. JavaScript bundle contains everything that JavaScript has, plus some added code, some added features. Now to bring this into your code on the left here, you just open up these menus, and you just need the HTML, and you just click on it to copy, and then you go into your code. So this is my boilerplate code. The CSS for Bootstrap goes inside your head tag, so I'm going to paste that in there. And then the bundle, JavaScript bundle, the CSS for that, I'm going to, well actually it's not CSS, it's JavaScript. So this JavaScript for this is here in the script tag. I click on that, and then for this link here, you can add it to the bottom of the web page. Sometimes with JavaScript, it's recommended that you add to the bottom of your web page. So this is a script that you're pointing to that contains all the JavaScript source code for Bootstrap. And once you have these 2 things set up, you should be good to go. So I'm going to hit save. Now you want to test it out. You know, right now there's no code inside the body, so we want to test it out with something. So we can test it out with a bit of Bootstrap code. So now you go to Bootstrap, the Bootstrap website, which is getbootstrap.com. We go to this site, and if you want to test some code out, you can go into documentation at the Bootstrap site, this purple navigation bar, and go into components. And let's just pick Jumbotron. Now, here at Get Bootstrap in this documentation section under components, each of these components will show you visually what it looks like. It gives you the visual example, and down below you have your code. So a Jumbotron is basically a big hero image, usually, or a big part of your home page that is really the kind of like the lead-in to attract your audience. So usually the text is big, and it's very obvious. Sometimes there's a link. So with just the Jumbotron here for Bootstrap has a little button, which is a link. You can see the text is Helvetica, so this is the default Bootstrap font, which is really nice looking. It's cleaner than Arial, which is common on a Windows machine, or the default sans serif, which is on the Mac machine. So this is using Helvetica, but this is already being done on the CDN on the Bootstrap side, so you don't even have to worry about any of this. So it gives you a nice looking introduction, let's say, to your homepage. So I'm just going to copy this code. So this is the code, and this is the Bootstrap code, which is creating the Jumbotron. You can actually see in here too, the div class is Jumbotron, so that's a preset style which is already being coded for you. You don't have to code this out. And you can see some different classes. Display 4 is creating the big headline, hello world. So all this is already set because you're pointing to the CDN, which contains the code. So you don't have to worry about this. You just have to bring this code in to your web page. So I'm going to paste that into my brackets page here. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to hit save. So this is basically the test. You're testing to see if Bootstrap is working, if these CDNs are actually working. And when I hit my lightning bolt, I should see the exact same thing that I see here. So I'm going to click that lightning bolt, give it a few seconds. And the web page is opening. And there it is, hello world, just like we have on the Bootstrap example. So I know this is working. This is great. So I got this nice look already, a very nice looking aspect to this web page. So if you want to see what it looked like without pointing to the CDN, I can comment this out using my HTML comment. So it's the exclamation point with the greater than symbol, and then here's the closing part of that comment. So I'm commenting out the CSS part of Bootstrap, and I'm going to hit save. And this is what it looks like without Bootstrap. So this is like plain boring default HTML. So creating this link to the CDN for Bootstrap really gives you some nice styling on this, what's called a Jumbotron, with very little work. I'm doing this under a minute, right? Here's a link, so that button's a link. So if I look at my code down here where it says button, whatever you see this BTN in Bootstrap, that creates a button for you. BTN primary creates a blue button. So primary is actually the CSS class name for a color. So you have these different color names, like warning is one, and that would be a red button. And then LG is a large button. And right here then I have an href, so that's going to be a link. So I can get rid of the number sign, and I can put a link in here. So I'm going to point, let's say, to Nike for whatever reason, just so you can see that how this button works. So that's the website for Nike. I'm including the https://www.nike.com in there. Hit save. Now when I click this button, it takes me to Nike. So that's a cool little link feature as well. Instead of using a link or even creating this link yourself, where you'd have to style it and give it a width and a height and give it a background color and give it a hover, Bootstrap does it all for you. I've made you go through the process of creating your own navigation, but now with Bootstrap you can create these nice navigation features just by knowing the Bootstrap class to use. It even has nice little rounded corners as well. So basically this is how you utilize Bootstrap code by linking to the CDN website, and you want to use Bootstrap CDN.com to do that. And yeah, so Bootstrap CDN.com is where you get the CDN. One last thing, if you go to getbootstrap.com under home, under the home page here, and you can click on Get Started. Get Started gives you access to a different CDN as well, and it's the same exact thing as Bootstrap CDN in terms of functionality. It's just linking to a different CDN server that contains the same exact code. Sometimes you have to try different CDNs. They don't always work. So that's why you want to test out the code by pointing to some actual Bootstrap classes. And if one CDN doesn't work, then you try another one. But the one that I'm featuring has always worked pretty well for me, so I recommend bootstrapcdn.com. That's going to work great.